orang. Menurut gua Rins tuh S plus mid laner.
He said it's okay because that's everyone's personal opinion, but he personally thinks that Rins belongs in the S plus tier. Okay. So in this upcoming match, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? Do you think you're confident?
Confident.
Confident? How confident? Out of 0 to 10?
Apa itu?
Dari 0 sampai 10, confident apa sih?
11.
11, that's how confident he is. Maybe with that level of confidence, dengan tingkat kepedean sebanyak itu, ada message mungkin untuk anak-anak SRG?
Good luck, have fun ya.
Just good luck and have fun. Other than good luck, have fun, and hope the match will be entertaining.
Ya.
Selain itu, selain good luck, have fun, sama semoga matchnya entertaining.
Siap-siap aja.
Okay, he says siap-siap aja, which means, what does it mean? How do you translate that? Like, get ready? Yeah, I think it's get ready. So, there it is. Thank you so much, Darren. Good luck for your next upcoming match. I'm going to throw it over back to the host.
Eternal, everyone knows siap-siap aja means we will beat you. Not kidding. I don't think that's an accurate translation. Don't believe me, I'm actually Filipino. Okay, so the RQ lineup. Darren, Susujin, Rins, Ida, and Toy. And I want to come back to what they mentioned about Rins after what happened to them in the M6 World Championship. It was actually him that got the short end of the stick on social media. A lot of flack for his performance. To be fair, a lot of mid laners during M6 got a lot of flack when you compared it to the current World Champion Super Friends, right? Who was playing perfect games throughout every hero he did. And I think Rins has been looking for that redemption arc. I know they've even been critical of him during the regular season itself. He's one of the few players who is actively good on Eve, even when it's off meta. So therefore, I feel like RQ are, personally for me, in a really good spot.
I think RQ in general has just come a very long way. But enough about RQ. What about SRG?
Yeah, for SRG, he's going to be going up against Stormy. I don't think they keep calling him a prodigy. I don't think he's a prodigy at this point. He's pretty darn good at what he does in the mid-matrix.
I feel like all of SRG last year was the hype, the build-up of this team that, you know, unbeatable, weren't dropping any games, then they finally proved themselves, and now we're at a point where we really know these players, we've grown to love some of them, and we've seen them already prove themselves, and against RQ, a team that has kind of taken a while to get themselves back in a roster that really works for them, get back onto the international, I think it's a really good matchup between the two.
It's a good matchup, but I am a little concerned, right? The games that we've seen SRG actually lose really boil down to 2 out of the 3 members not performing as well as we were hoping for. Stormy actually, surprisingly enough, being one of them, being usually one of the pillars of the squad alongside with Cram. Both of them were crumbling the times that they were playing against Mythic Seal, so therefore, when we see them kind of come back into form, it's when they are feeling the most confident, when they are making the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah. So maybe we can contextualize what the SRG is feeling heading into this matchup against RQ, because we actually had another interview with Innocent, the only man to get a Savage during the group stages. He talked with Eternal.
We're backstage now with Innocent from SRG. Now, Innocent, we got the chance to talk to Darren earlier on, and he did mention that this is going to be a revenge match. For you in particular, what are you going to have coming into this match? Do you think also that you want to keep a 1-up over RQ?
For us, we're just focusing every match, and we just need to win all of our matches so we can hopefully get back-to-back champion.
Okay, so they're eyeing for back-to-back champions. Everything else does not matter. Now, coming into this, did you guys have breakfast together?
Yeah, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. breakfast together. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. What did you have for breakfast?
We banana them, I think bread or something.
Okay, that's important, right? Because the last time we talked, you said that breakfast together is important. So does that mean you're feeling 100% confident coming into this match against RQ?
Yeah.
Yes? Darren said 11 out of 10. How are you feeling?
10.
10 out of 10. Okay, it's still 10 out of 10. It's absolutely confident. Do you have maybe a message for RRQ for your next upcoming match?
Good luck, guys, and let's give our fans a good match.
Okay, good luck, and hope to give the fans the best match possible. Any message for someone personally?
And for my girlfriend, just enjoy the match and don't overthink too much. And I'll call you later.
I'll call you later, okay. Thank you so much once again, Innocent. Good luck for your next match, because we're gonna throw it over now back to the studio.
Innocent, the only man with a savage so far, coming from the group stage. Also, most shoutouts to his girlfriend. That's the stat line he's leading as well. R for redemption for RRQ. Trex, you think it's doable for RRQ? Are you impressed with what you've seen from them so far?
Definitely impressed with what I've seen from them so far. I think this is a match that, for me, is very down the middle. Everyone keeps asking me who I think is going to come out on top, and I think it could switch every hour. So I got a feeling this could really go the distance. But RQ, the redemption is there. Can they take it?
I think that it's going to boil down to who's willing to show the entire playbook here. Most teams are going to be into this thinking like, oh, we got to save strats, but when you're pushed into that corner, you don't have a choice. And I think you always have to bring something new with each and every game rather than saying, hey, just because I win, therefore, I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, again, we have to remember there's going to be a crazy draft battle between the two coaching staffs. Looking at Coach Arcadia and Coach Kezcute. Coach Arcadia, of course, if you know your MLBB history, used to coach for RQ at some point during M4 when they took them to, if I'm not mistaken, a top 4, top 3 finish around that. And then when Kezcute came over, he sort of like became the beginning of this new era for RRQ, who's just been so sharp for the drafts. So I want to do a little crazy advanced prediction here. At the end of Game 1, who do you think will come out with a better draft? Coach Arcadia or Coach Kezcute?
Do we at least get to assume blue or red side?
Oh yeah, you can preface it.
I'm going to go with Kezcute as the cleaner draft. RQ, I'm going to go with Kezcute as the cleaner draft for Game 1.
For Game 1, all right.
For Game 1.
For Game 1, for Game 1. What about you, Gideon?
I'm going to have to agree, but I will preface it that at least for Coach Arcadia, Game 2 onwards, I think we're going to see something a little interesting if Game 1 is a flop.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, another hot question. We want to start things off hot here. Again, we look like we're on the heavier side of the bracket. Innocent, another savage, yes or no?
If it goes to Game 5, yes.
Oh, okay. Very specific conditions there, Gideon.
It'll take some time, you know? It's not going to happen in Game 1.
Okay.
I'm going to say only if he has a hero that utilizes Sky Piercer.
Ah, all right. I mean,
Granger.
He did get his savage with the Granger. He was 17-02. All right. Edoc, will he get his Franco or not?
Definitely. For sure. I'm feeling very confident about that at least. Franco for sure. What about you, Trex?
Yeah, once again, I think maybe not Game 1, but we saw the Franco yesterday against the Lancelot. It almost did very, very well. I think as the games go on, we'll definitely see some picks like that pop up.
All right, the final hot question, real quick. No context, just drop your prediction of the match winner.
SRG.
RRQ.
Looks like we're split here, and we are seeing the arena right now. Once again, the champions of the Philippines and the champions of Indonesia are waiting in the semifinals. While 4 teams, champions in their own right, teams looking for redemption and validation, fight out for 2 more semifinal slots. You have RRQ, SRG, Team Spirit, and Onyx Philippines. Let's go to the arena and welcome our teams. This is the second day of the knockouts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second day of the knockout stages of MSC at EWC 2025. Yesterday was insanely exciting, but today is another day, and maybe we'll see some upsets. Anyways, my name is Rose, and once again, it is an honor to share the stage with my co-host, Milosh.
The honor is all mine, Rose. No two ways around it. Yesterday, it was a rollout, right? We had Team Liquid Philippines, Onyx ID, smashing through their opponents 3-0. We had an early day, whether we wanted it or not. And they were going to be playing tomorrow. That's a match to really look forward to in the semis. But another semifinal, potentially. We'll have to decide that today with the last 4 teams remaining in our quarterfinals.
Yes, indeed. For our second days of the knockout stages, we will be witnessing 2 more quarterfinal matches. Once again, this is a best of 5. The winner will head on to the semifinals tomorrow, and the loser ends their journey at MSC.
It is a single elimination bracket. This is what it entails, as Rose was explaining. So how about we stop dilly-dallying and get ready for our matchup. Introducing our teams, the Res Regnum, the Kings of Kings, RRQ! With a legacy that stretches back to Season 1, their goal at MSC 25 is clear. Reclaim your glory and dominate your opponents. Vengeance, though, guides their hand today versus the defending MSC champions for ending their M6 run prematurely. The road to break the forever second curse starts right here, right now.
And of course, since RRQ was in the 2-0 pool during the group draw, they picked out the defending champions of NSC as their first rival. And it is the perfect way to get their well-craved revenge since M6. It is none other than Selangor Red Giants OG Sports. Kicking off the group stages with a hard-fought victory and falling to the hands of Mythic Seal, their journey hasn't been the smoothest. After bouncing back against CFU and qualifying for the knockout stages, can SRG, the team, get their dominance that they need to be one step away in defending the crown and defending it for their nation?
Rose, once again, we're getting an equivalent grand final match in the quarterfinals, and that is an absolute honor to be part of. So please, RQ, please, SRG, you may place your tablets, your keys, take your seats. Our game is about to begin, Rose.
Ooh. I love the audience today.
Yes.
The energy is there, but you want to know what? The battle in the Land of Dawn is about to be hotter. The games hasn't started, and I'm already sweating.
Well, I can't even imagine what it's like to be players in this case. Let's send it over and get our match started. It's time to go to the Land of Dawn.
I'm feeling really excited to meet RRQ because they want to take revenge on us. So we are really excited to face them again.
And that is one left, and that's a wipeout! Another unofficial savage for the beast!
Kalau dibilang perasaan gua lawan SRG, kayak biasa aja. Apalagi kan ini juga pertama kalinya kan gue ketemu tim SRG. Terus juga sebelumnya gue sempat ketemu Innocent di MPLI dan itu tim gue menang. Jadi buat lawan tim SRG, gue tetap confident sama diri gue sendiri.
I think RRQ chose us because they want the revenge from last year, and I'm not mad about it. I'm happy. So it's my team, so we can prove them wrong also.
Lock that in. That is the term you use for a gold lane performance like that.
Mungkin untuk perbedaan RRQ dengan SRG, untuk RRQ mungkin kita dari segi hero pool, strategi juga mungkin lebih siap. Terus juga main untuk menangin setup turtle apapun terjadi. Dan untuk tim SRG mungkin mereka untuk saat ini mengandalkan Innocent untuk tim play mereka.
The biggest deciding factor against RRQ will be the best disciplined team wins and the less mistakes going to win.
Untuk kunci kemenangan kita melawan SRG mungkin pertama dari draft, yang kedua mungkin dari team play kita untuk bagaimana cara kita dapetin turtle, terus objektif kita, mungkin itu sih.
So to RRQ, I'm excited that you guys picked us and let's have a good match.
Pesan-pesan gue untuk tim SRG, terutama Innocent, good luck, have fun.
I like how the beats that we hit on the panel for this match all came true. Trex, you mentioned you cannot make a mistake. It was Stormy himself who acknowledged, yeah, the least mistakes lead to the biggest wins for the teams. And then we talked about the hero pool, the draft. So good to see that RQ is acknowledging that when you're going up against SRG, you really need a deep hero pool ready.
It's not only that. I think they're hitting the major pain points for SRG's side. The draft, the read on the meta. What is priority and what is not? Because if we're talking about raw execution, both of these teams are good at what they do. It will stall out to the late game.
I think we could argue that almost all the teams are solid, but
Yeah. Don't forget, you have the MSC 2025 chest available from August 18th to, July 18th to August 7th for only 20 diamonds. You can draw the luxury reward, returning MSC Skin Atlas Rune Sentinel, plus your first 3 openings guarantee you Crystal of Aurora and Banner of Moral. That's not all. Up to 1,000 MSC coins could be yours too. Buy the MSC support chest now and cheer for MSC. Sorry, Trex, you were in the middle of a point there. What did you want to say?
Like I said, I think draft has been crucial yesterday. Even whether you argue the skill level was different between the teams, I really think draft was huge, and I think this is one of my worries for SRG coming into this. They have been extremely diverse in their draft. They've picked a lot of different things from gold lane all around the map. They have a much deeper unique hero pool than RRQ, and I think what's going to keep a lot of teams together in this knockout stage is maybe just sticking by the book, honestly.
Which is kind of interesting because last year during MSC 24, we saw a lot of the meta already figured out. It was pretty set in stone in how teams wanted to play. The question was skill expression and how to kind of attack specific players rather than a whole style of composition, which is very different to now where I think there's a lot more fluidity with the ways that you can kind of pivot on blue as well as red.
Yeah, currently the draft is paused. We will be coming back into that once it's ready yet again, but we already saw a blue side Fanny rush ban actually by RRQ. Yeah, the funny thing about Fanny is like she's still an option, but yeah, she's gone right now in the meta. But if she does come up, it's more on the red side if I'm not mistaken. So it just really goes to show how the priorities change. Now this is a good respect ban by RRQ, taking away the Kimmy for Stormy, who was actually great for SRG OG.
That's not the only thing, right? Getting rid of the Kimmy is just one part of the puzzle. Red side, we've seen a consistent amount of bans going over to Yishin, Shin, sometimes even Lancelot, but most of the time it's always that Wanwa, which kind of opens up the utility pool for junglers.
I also like the fact that SRG is focusing on the YSS, taking out some of these assassin jungler picks. Even though we haven't seen RRQ use any assassin jungler picks yet, there is still a possibility there. RRQ, even though they've had a smaller hero pool, we got to know that there's a lot of possibilities. But I saw your face, Gideon. The Granger ban, is that a direct target onto Innocent?
It's definitely a direct target, but also is it necessary, right? It's not one of those heroes that are like, oh, it's the ultimate scaling hero that we should be worried about. But first picks are already through, and it looks like they've already locked in for themselves the Zhu Xin, who's been heavily contested within the meta so far.
It seems like she's become the go-to mid laner once it's available. Zetian has dipped out. Kimmy is the next best option. So you see how RRQ are putting a lot of focus on the center of the map. And you gotta appreciate SRG for these next 2 draft picks. They picked up the Kalea to sort of match that presence and aggression in the center. And most importantly, they can just have Innocent go off to the side and split push.
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think they want to make sure they lock in something for Innocent quickly because you can see the target bans coming in. And if RRQ pick up the Moskov here, SRG wait till maybe second phase, Innocent has nothing left at this point. And Kalea as well, we've seen how well it does. I think it's just a solid upfront pick. They don't need to pick a mage right now because Jushin's already been picked. So if they still want something like the Farza to outrange the Jushin, they can do that as their third.
I'm not going to waste the efforts of our scriptwriters here, but did you know that SRG, 100% win rate on Kalea, 0% win rate on the Moskov? So they're trying to balance it on both sides, but RRQ very smartly of them, the Badang into the Fredrin. They didn't go for the Arlot straight away. They might consider it later down the road, but they're keeping their options huge, which is why this is the genius of Kescute.
Okay, so here's the question. Do they pick up Mage here? Do they go for something like the Farza here? Even though the Badang's on the field, I still like it against the Jushin. I like the range. I like the wings by wings. The problem is with Jungler already picked on the side of RRQ, you know some bans are going to be heading in towards SRG in second phase if they don't lock that in.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that the Farza should be coming out here now for SRG or their Mage, but something that deals damage, not utility Mage. You need that raw damage output to help bridge for the Moskov to come in. They went for damage, but not in the mid lane. They picked up the Lancelot.
Okay, I think it's still fine here. Knowing Stormy's hero pool, I want to see whether RRQ have done their homework to kind of force him to dig deep, right? Because there's still the possibilities of, hey, as long as we have Kalea, we force our opponents to take a majority of their spells to be Purify over the Flicker. The only exception being the Badang, but he can build, things like Thunderbelt to kind of scale and protect himself later down the line. I think that SRG have already taken that into consideration. Now it's about finding a winning matchup for Cram for Red 4.
I think you still have heroes such as the CC available. You know, those heroes like, we've come to agreement for Crab. He needs a hero that can stand in front, spam stickers.
Glue's also a possibility, something that can deal with the Fredrin here, something that can cause a little bit of crowd control to kind of counteract that. Masha ban on the side of SRG.
It's very nice. It's good. It's really good, because how many games have you seen RRQ just be like, hey, we're about to lose, what's going on? Masha shows up, double kill, triple kill.
Okay, good predicted ban there by SRG. And RRQ are now, as you mentioned, Trex, focusing down on the mid lane. They're going to take out the even. I wonder if RRQ is within the line of thinking of, you know what, if they pick up the Farsa, we might just be able to deal with it. Is that safe to go down that route?
I mean, I think there's all Farsa's like there's so many counters to Farsa, but also any good Farsa player can always wings by wings away, either picks up the Purify, picks up the Flicker, something of that nature. But I like the E-Ban, something that could kind of give the Fredrin a little bit of trouble, kind of lock it inside of the box. So I think it's definitely a well done pick. CC ban on the side of SRG, Gideon.
I'm telling you, R4 is for Cram right now. They're making sure they're getting rid of the awkward picks, right? You're getting rid of the CC, so even if he does have to play Phoveus into Glue, it's not the worst, but there's just no reason to do it right now. It's better for him to actually go into the Glue at this point in time, because RRQ have already locked in their mage, so there's no immediate counter pick to it.
Yeah, I think next in line, we're all in agreement. Glue should be coming in for Cram and SRG later on, which leaves Dyren with maybe just wanting to match that. Farsa is gonna get banned. Oh, so Stormy, what's he gonna go into?
I think, okay, let's see. They go for the Phoveus here. Now, I think what he can go for are things like Nana, for an example, any form of strong disengage. There's an argument for Veil as well, but this really depends on how much backline access RQ has in the first place.
I want to see something with range. I was thinking maybe the Novaria, something of that nature, something that doesn't have to get too close and personal. The ZTN is kind of falling off, I feel like, a little bit in terms of meta, so I don't think it's going to pop up here, and it's not something that has a Flicker, and with an Assassin as your front line, you need to make sure your mage is going to be safe when this Lancelot goes and leaves the mage behind.
Yeah, I think whoever they end up in the mid lane for SRG does need a good amount of distance to can mess it up. RRQ go for the Claude, and I think that's also them considering the potential Novaria or long-range mage option.
Or Kadita. We could maybe see a Kadita mage here in the mid. Could work. You get the Petrify, you get the stun with this big, heavy front line RQ. Could work as well.
Yeah, no, this is really smart from Kescute's side. I was talking about backline access, right? This really limits down on the type of mid lane heroes that you're going to get access to. Because let's say you go for Kadita. Yes, you have iframes, but as soon as you come out of it, you're going to get jumped on by 2 to 3 people.
Yeah.
Now that you don't have to worry about artillery mages, I think at this point, I want to say Nana, but it's so easy for her passive to break in the first like turtle fight. So we'll see. Depending on what mid pick, it really tells us where SRG wants to fight for.
Yeah, and they end up picking the Zetian, a little bit more utility based with all of the dive that they have. Again, Zetian has struggled, but at least it's paired up with a Lancelot in the jungle, so it's not an overload on utility. I think across the board, we're all vibing a little bit more towards RQ's drafts.
Yeah, I'm definitely vibing a little bit more towards RQ's draft. I think a lot of things is going to come down to how this Lancelot gets played, how good it's able to perform in the pit, can they secure first turtle, etc., etc.
Yeah, so it feels like the SRG lineup is a little bit more complicated to pull off, while RQ just has a very solid foundation. Play around the Batang, Lapu, Juicin, and Fred. Let's go, bring it in Naisu to call game number 1.
Thanks so much to the panel here. Yes, it's me, Naisu, and Brigida to bring you the action. It's our first quarterfinal match of today, day number 2 here, of course, the knockout stage. And it's an epic match we have ahead of us as we jump into the land of Dawn. Will it be RRQ to move on forward with redemption, or will it be SRG OG Esports? Brigida, they've shared their thoughts over on the panel. I gotta say, I gotta lean towards the same sentiments here. I'm thinking RQ's draft. I like it. What do you think?
I have to agree with them as well. There are just too much things that RRQ have already secured even prior to that game in terms of picks and in terms of battle spells, which will make things a lot more easier. And it does feel like Stormy was left with very little options in terms of the mid lane pick. And we put a lot of focus in terms of the mid laners in the current meta. So we'll see how SRG gets to actually pull off this entire idea. Because again, even just in terms of Purify, like Rins and Toy already have that. And they might have to bank on other ways to force it out of RRQ if they want to make the Kalei a bit more useful.
Yeah, and looking at the emblems here, nothing too crazy. A whole lot of tenacities, of course, for RRQ. They want to be able to go ahead and survive. A lot of Brave Smites. Yep. You know, they're going to rely on. Dyron's taking some damage, but that's kind of expected, too, with a Phobius matchup there. He might need some help against Cram later on, but yeah, it's interesting because we paid a lot of attention to the mid laners, for example, leading into MSC in general, and it's in an interesting position. I mean, even the Zetian alone from Stormy, it's like we haven't seen this hero be maybe as useful as some people thought.
Yeah.
But she still gets picked up quite a bit, especially when you're thinking about the vision that it provides, utility as well. And once these level 4s start to come online, Cram's gonna get pulled back.
Whoa, that's 4 members of RRQ actually trying to go for Cram. They force out the flicker though, so there seems to be an intention to somehow shut him down. But Sekai goes in, even using the Phantom Execution towards Rins, but he still does not decide to use the Purify.
He doesn't have it. This turtle's up, and this is a battle for space right now. A lot of poking going on here. There's a jump in from Edok, but they just want to fight for it.
Okay, the ultimate's already committed as well. They somehow have a bit of control here, but that's a Dark Wave knocking up 2 members from RRQ. Direct goes to the back line though, and it's still Sekai who gets to secure everything. Razor's Trap doesn't land onto anyone but Toy. He gets first blood. Sekai trades out Jin, but on the top lane, Yums will be the next to fall.
Whoa, there's a fight everywhere. Sekai's in trouble too. Edok, he'll clean up the kill before going down himself. So at least amongst it all, SRG gets a double for Stormy. They also get the turtle.
I mean, we did say that the idea for SRG is somewhat utility overall, but it's nice to see them play it very aggressively despite that. I mean, even in terms of the ones who positioned themselves first in the turtle, it was just such great timing overall for RRQ because even Toy was in that fight, so who would have expected that RRQ already had that much damage, that much sources for damage. It just fell into place for them, but either way, you see how SRG is trying to attack this game, is trying to approach this game up against RRQ.
This is kind of what I expected though. You know, I expected this matchup between these two teams to be pretty hectic in the early game. And we've already got that, and I think really when you look at both lineups, both just teams fighting out, like that's what they want to do. I almost feel like, for the most part, majority of the teams, this is how they like to play these games, especially you take in consideration, this is a best of 5. We've had plenty of best of 3s, you know, so team strategy and the way they play it might differ from game to game, but right now it's mostly objective fighting around that. We heard that from the interviews coming into this too, that, you know, for RRQ, a lot of times it's like, yeah, let's just go ahead and focus on our objectives, secure those early turtles if we can, and that's why we saw them fight for it. But of course, they got to win that retribution battle when it comes down to it. And so what it's been a lot of is just these kind of skirmishes, these fighting. I mean, even earlier, the fact that Toy went all the way from the gold lane up to that turtle to provide that blazing duet damage was great because, I mean, with Innocent, he could have just joined the fight. Rins?
Yep. He was the first one to rotate out of his lane, but SRG are actually doing a really great job at holding this river side. Oh, Cram decides to burst or go in first. However, there's the Tsunami Slam already committed. Edok gets taken out. Jin this time secures the turtle out. SRG will land on to Risen. Innocent will be coming on from behind, but the back execution will be enough. 2-man knockoff coming in from the Tsunami or the Tidal Strike, but Yums, he will not be able to sustain all that, but it might just be all worth it for SRG.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get a couple kills off it. Of course the turtle went to RRQ, but because of the extended fight and then Innocent joining in, I mean, crazy to see how this played out. We're going to get a look at it again with instant replay here, brought to us by STC, but I mean, look at this. This was a fight that you think RRQ is going to win. Susujin gets the turtle, but then because of the spear, I mean, this is a very slow-moving Moskov too, because this is very early on in the game. But, you know, they end up having more of that firepower in their favor, especially when you have a Lancelot to consider in the hands of Skies here. So it's still, I mean, either way, it's an objective trade for both of them now, 1-for-1 in the Turtles, but SRG gets themselves a nice lead. A 1K lead at this point isn't anything too crazy that RRQ has to deal with, but it's starting to build up here. I think the main thing when you really break down those fights is fighting around those windows of crowd control that RRQ lineup has, but the same thing over here from SRG OG Esports. Like, they can do the same thing, but it's just playing around, for example, getting out the Tsunami Slams if it's going to be used, or EWC setting things up with the break and fist break combo that we're so used to seeing, especially when the flicker is available.
Because I think even the panelists did point out that RRQ just have so many resources that will be very beneficial for them when it comes to a team fight or a situation where SRG has to group up, especially considering that majority of the heroes of SRG, well, fortunately for their last pick, they did decide to go for the Zetian, so that gives them a little bit more of range. They literally have to coordinate and be together in order for them to maximize their potential, their capabilities. But EWC goes in with a flicker, gets to catch only Crab because Stormy still has the flicker, but the Fury of the Phoenix will be used to counter against RRQ. Yumes from behind trying to hold out some of the other members. Break the Spider already committed by Dyrant as well. There's another fifth right catching 3, but Toy might not get to target anyone with the Blazing Duet. Sekai this time gets the Turn Operator's Wrath, lands onto Yumes. Susujin holding everyone down all by himself, but SRG, they might want to go for it. Fortunately, RRQ are able to run away though.
Cram just took so much damage and bought so much time for them in that fight, and then Yumes holding on to the Tsunami Slam for the right moment is what really allowed them to gain control around that last turtle of the game and win that fight. It just didn't seem like RRQ was able to go ahead and get the advantage they were looking for. You know, there was a great amount of damage from the Appraiser's Wrath from Sutsujin, but still, they weren't able to win it out. Sakai's is going to be out just fine in that exchange, but what a good fight for SRG there.
All of the good initiations, you see them come in from RRQ.
Yeah.
But eventually, SRG OG, they're just so consistent in finding ways to bounce back, to counter-engage up against this team of RRQ, up against all those potential fist crack setups. We see that come in, but there's a conceal play coming in from RRQ. They don't fully commit just yet, though.
Yeah, good comms there. You know, they want to go for Innocent. Like I said, you know, leading into this, a lot of people are like, man, you know, SRG OG Esports has this kind of tendency to just rely on Innocent to kind of lock in, pop off later on. Again, he's the only one right now with a Savage for MSC. And so if you can put some pressure there, try to delay him out a little bit, then that might be one of the game plans for RRQ. But he's protected really well. You can see he just goes down to the bottom lane now. Yume's providing so much information. He might be in trouble.
Oh, beautiful counter with the Tsunami Slam onto EWC. Now he gets immediately taken down before he gets to do anything. He was right close under the turn as well, but Toy, now with that energy eruption, they find a way to deal with Sekai's. That was a bit too dangerous up against 3 members of RRQ.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Sakai's was like, I got this, and Toy said, no, it's all right. So this is actually probably going to get them the Lord here. There is a trade on the tier 2 turn on the bottom side, but RRQ now going for this. Oh, Spear. Okay, yeah.
Oh, we've seen too much.
We've seen it too much, Brigida. You know, you kind of hold your breath a little bit. We've seen too many Lords, too many turtles taken with the Spear Destruction from Amazkov. But RRQ gets themselves a Lord, which is going to be not too devastating, I feel like, again, but they did whittle down some of the gold that was building up here in comparison to SRG. It might help them get to the tier 2 turrets because you got to see it. They don't have any tier 1s down at all. You know, so they need to go ahead and start opening up the map to utilize this lineup that they have here.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that RRQ might be wanting to consistently push SRG to force them to a fight, but then SRG, the way they're dealing with it right now, was just really backing on the idea that Innocent needs to take his time, but the Lantern Flare stack will catch on to Sekai once again. Fortunately, gets to dash away with the puncture. There's a beautiful knock-up coming in from Yumes as well. They commit the Tsunami Slam onto Sutsujin, but on the other side of the map, Sekai is doing a great job as well, zoning out or actually dealing the damage towards the Tankist members, but he gets traded down too.
Toys coming to the fight. He's trying to set up the Blazing Duet, but he gets hit into the wall. He finally gets it off. He'll take down one, forces the flicker from Stormy. What a fight in the mid lane. Lord finally goes down. So after it all, they get all tier 1 turrets that they need, except the mid one.
So it does seem like SRG, despite the presence of the Lord, really wanted to force that fight, be the ones to set things up this time around, but then that caused them a turret, that caused them a bit of casualties here and there. So unfortunately, Innocent was there to actually deal with it, but this is where you see that SRG, sometimes they tend to make these very bold decisions too.
Hey, we love these slow motion. Oh, Enoch! That wasn't slow motion. Enoch's taken out.
Okay, another Tsunami Slam will be committed onto Sutsujin. It seems like he's always the target. Now he gets caught. Innocent with the double kill once again, but Grab gets traded down. Yuke doesn't get the jump away. And now the guys in too deep with the he might get the kill on Toy, and he's actually able to get the kill.
Oh my goodness, what a turnaround! And it was the same thing. Innocent comes in with a Spear of Destruction. Dyron might get sandwiched into here. He's trying to get back to the mid lane, but Innocent's just like, I'm taking this turret. They win that fight. And I mean, look at all the bodies right there. And that choke point is not what you want to be. Good close up to it too. Because that was a fight that's looking one way and then it quickly turns the other. And I guess that's the way it works when you have a Lancelot and then a Mozkov that can work in conjunction with each other here. So you're getting to that point now where a lot of the teams
bisa ditanggulangi oleh Toy, tapi jangan biarkan Innocent ini free dan SOD-nya nancep.
Oke, nancep kali ini. Untungnya masih ada Sutsujin. Pindah, oke. Ada Yum yang mulai mendekat sepertinya. Tapi Innocent berusaha untuk mundur. The Blazing Joy kali untuk Chat tadi masih ada WD udah langsung dikeluarkan. Tapi Innocent berhasil tertangkap basah. Sutsujinnya pun langsung menghilang. Stormy-nya mundur sedikit dan Yum tertangkap basah. Di mana pergerakan dari Toy juga masih free hit.
Thanks to Purify, itu dia satu trigger disiplin dari Purify yang on point dari Toy, ngebuat akhirnya inisiasi ataupun cancellation yang dilakukan oleh Yums ini gagal. Dan akhirnya ngebuat 2 poin kill berhasil diamankan oleh Rarky, sembari juga dia sedang mendefense ke arah Lordnya. Ini ngebuat akhirnya keadaan kembali imbang, membuat juga dari SRG akhirnya tidak bisa memanfaatkan Lord yang mereka dapatkan.
Ini keuntungannya dari Toy juga pakai Purif kan. Jadi dia masuk Blazing Duet, dia Purify, dia nggak bisa didorong sama Spear Misery. Ya nggak ada satu movement tambahan lagi dari Innocent. Innocent sekalinya habis Worker udah sekali aja gitu loh. Dan di situ aja ngedesnya. Yang dia bawa juga Purify. Ya mau tidak mau dia hanya akan menerima damage kalau kecuali kayak tadi ada WON juga yang dikeluarkan.
Halo Sekis.
Oke, Fist break, tertangkap basah dan sini dia Sekis diamankan.
Sebenarnya Sekis kurang bersabar ya, lihat-lihat ya. Dia maju-maju dan akhirnya gak bisa pulang.